Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am McSnazzi, and as always, we are back in Planet Zoo once again today for episode 12. We're already at episode 12. I can't believe we've made it this far, but the zoo's getting better every episode, and I think we're increasing our amount of detail every episode too, and we might have to go back to some of the prior builds, or the previous builds in the earlier episodes, and spruce them up a bit to the amount of detail that we've been using lately, but I just wanted to do a bit of a laid-back build this week. Wasn't really sure where to go after building the reptile house. The reptile house was such a huge build, and it was it took a lot of time. So I wanted something a little smaller scale, but I still wanted to make it super duper detailed, like how we've been doing so far. I thought I might go with the African animal this episode, maybe the zebras, but I felt like it would just be another huge build right after the huge reptile house build, so I feel like I may have ran out of time in order to get this video out, so I decided to go with a little bit of a smaller build, but it ended up taking a ton of time anyway, but I'm happy with it, so it's all good. As you can tell by the thumbnail, title of the video, etc., we are going to be doing a snow leopard exhibit today. We are back in the Asian area. We haven't been in this area since the orangutan episode, maybe 5 episodes ago, a few weeks in my time. But I was really happy to get back in this area because we've kind of upped our game a little bit since we've been back in this area in terms of terrain variants, using a lot of natural terrain and foliage and everything in order to add a lot of detail to our builds. So I think going back to this area, adding that sort of detail in the newer builds in this area would be great. I also want to do a December snowy themed kind of animal as well. So snow leopard was perfect. I just kind of started building it and it worked that way. So I'm happy with it. Also, news in the Planet Zoo community today. I'm recording this video on the 11th, at least the voiceover on the 11th of December. And this morning, they announced the 1.1 patch that will be releasing next week on December 17th, it looks like. And I just wanted to go over a little bit of this because the build's pretty straightforward. Don't really need to talk a lot about this early stages of what we're doing here, but I wanted to give my impressions and sort of what I thought about what the announcement says that they will have. Let me pull it up on a screen here. So it says they're going to add slow animal aging, which I think is great. The animals age pretty quickly now, and they mature really quickly, so you don't really have baby animals for too long. I'd kind of like to see baby animals for a little longer, so I think that's great. Immediate family on animal information panels. This means we're going to be able to see which animals are siblings to kind of combat inbreeding. I haven't really ran into that much because I haven't been playing franchise at all, but I'm sure that's an issue, and I'm sure people will really like that. Animal pack behavior. This is sort of for Timberwolves and African wild dogs, both which we have not really done in the zoo yet, so I don't think that really matters in our series so far. Some new heat maps, improved social behaviors, a news feed, all that stuff is cool. And then management updates. Also, there's some cool stuff in here. Keep routes closed, giving you some stuff, but I think the biggest thing is that they're adding some new stuff. They're adding a whole new building set, an ice and snow rock set, and some new enrichment items, some new winter foliage, which would be really cool because we built the snow leopard habitat, but there's not a lot of winter themed foliage, so hopefully it's actual foliage we can use and not just a bunch of lighted up Christmas stuff. But hey, I'm excited. I mean, it sounds great. I'm glad they're doing an update already with some free content. That's just great for the channel. It'd be great for the game too, to fix some of these bugs that have been out there, some of the lighting issues, etc., that have been existing for a little while now. They also say at the end here that there's going to be a surprise in store as well, so I hope that would be another animal. And my thoughts on that would be probably maybe the polar bear. That would be really cool. I think it's a very winter, Christmassy themed animal. I think it would fit great, and that'd be something really cool to have. So if that comes out, we'll definitely be building a polar bear enclosure because that sounds just awesome. Well, let me get to talking a little bit on the screen. I just wanted to take a moment there and give you guys my impressions, and I think it's a great thing. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited for the new building and rock sets, rock and snow foliage set. That will be awesome. But here in the snow leopard exhibit, so far we've kind of done the outline. The snow leopards live in super mountainous areas. If you've ever seen, I think they have like a planet, or what's the series called? Planet Earth? Yeah, Planet Earth. They have something on the snow leopards in there. I just remember watching it, and they live deep in the mountains. This is like very high up. Don't get a lot of food. There's like 0 to no foliage, and it's just rocks, just straight rocks. So that's why most of this build is just a lot of rock work, which I don't mind necessarily. I love doing rock work, but it probably does look a little bland. And I try to make that look a lot better on the screen when I add a bit of foliage within the rocks, etc., in order to make it look a little better. And I think it does look great in the end. I'm really, really happy with how this turned out, and I'm glad I was able to do something so detailed and still made it look natural for the animals, even though the animal really likes just the mountain, you know, bland rocks, just everything. So I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a tiered viewing area. Since we really only have one angle to look at the snow leopards from, I kind of wanted to have a, you know, base angle that, you know, look down on, you're still above, but then I also wanted to add a little bit of terrain work, add a little bit of a mountain that you climb up a bit so you can get a higher up view of these snow leopards. And we also do a little like lookout tower, which we'll get to shortly in the video, but you know, I just wanted to have this be an exciting detailed exhibit because it's one of the smaller animals in the zoo, so they don't require a lot of area in terms of their area within the habitat. So I wanted to get a little creative with sort of what we were doing with the area around the habitat, since the habitat is so small and just pretty straightforward, you know. Just the snow leopards love a lot of snow, so you just plop a lot of snow down, you plop a lot of rocks down, and there you go. But we also made a little cave for him to sleep in, which I think was really nice. But it's just a basic straightforward cave, you know. We throw down the regular enrichment items just so they're happy. And really it's more about what we did outside of the exhibit than what we did on the inside, because the inside is just basically straightforward, really what you would do for the snow leopard. Since they're so simple, they don't require a lot. So it's really all about that sort of tiered guest lookout area that we made, and sort of the coziness and how we make the habitat look good, even though it's, you know, smaller and pretty straightforward. But I'll let it play for a bit, and I will jump back in when we start building something else. So sort of a big cut there. We do a lot of more terrain work and rock work around just to sort of fill up the rest of the area. I didn't want to have the whole video just be rock work because it basically was up to this point. But here we're going to put in some foliage. They really like barely any coverage, so we don't really get to put a lot in here because I still want the animals to have high enrichment, because that's important to the zoo. So we don't do a ton of foliage, but you know, we do enough to make it look a little more interesting and a little less drab. It still looks kind of drab, but that's just what the snow leopards like. So, you know, that's why we do more exciting stuff outside of it. But here's just a little foliage work. We got to use some of these Himalayan birch trees. I think they look great. I might want to use them a little more in the zoo because they look really good. Sort of split up just all the pine trees that we have, because it seems like we only have pine trees in here. But here we go, we're going to start working on this tower, and I couldn't bring it out at that base, so I had to make it kind of step up with those stairs. which is kind of a bummer because I just wanted it to come out over the original path. But I think it looks good in the end. I just think it looks a little tall because we had to do this sort of stair thing. And I wanted to make it a little bigger, but I didn't want it to overshadow anything that we were building. So just a small lookout area for anyone who wants to get like a higher view, or better pictures or something, or the kids want to go climb up here and have a good time. I think it's something that would be sort of cool to have in a zoo. But we're just gonna put stuff around this, make it look like an actual lookout tower. We're gonna use a lot of these log pieces again because I think it really fits the mountainous style that we have going with this exhibit so far. So I was really trying to keep that sort of trend going, and I think it turns out great in the end. And I will put this little tower on the workshop because I think it's a nice little piece to put into an exhibit, just to add a little bit of something to the guest area and a little bit of height variance, so you can climb and get a better picture and sort of do something like that. So I thought it was a really nice addition. It kind of brightened up this whole area because it is pretty drab because it's just basically a mountain with snow. So I think this really helped enrich the build. So I hope you guys like it, and I will put it on the workshop for anyone who wants to see that. Also, I've been fixing all the workshop links. If you've watched any of my other videos and you've tried to click on the workshop links for the builds, they haven't been working up to this point, but I have fixed that now, so everything should work now. So if you want to download any of the builds that I've done, look in the description of the videos and there should be a link there. If there's not, just leave a comment and I can put anything into the workshop and let you guys use it in your own zoos as well, so you can add a little something from Timber Gorge. So here we're gonna make a custom roof on this tower because none of the pieces really fit this 5-width path that I went with. I don't know why I went with 5-width. It'd probably been easier to do 4-width because we could use the actual pieces, but it let us get a little creative and create this little custom roof, and I think it worked just fine. I think I would have created a custom roof anyway because it just looks a lot better in my opinion, because I wanted to be sort of low-key and smaller scale and not anything like super crazy. Alright guys, that's it for the time-lapse portion. A little bit shorter this week, or just a smaller build. I kind of wanted to cut off a little bit of what we were doing, but here's what we did. I did a lot of this off camera with the sign and such, but this is what it looks like in the end, and I think it turned out great. And the snow leopards apparently can jump on those rocks, so I'm gonna need to fix that. But we'll keep rolling here. They look great, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. I added the fence that we had with the pygmy hippo area. It looks like the snow leopard got out, all the guests are running. But this little fence with the pygmy hippo area we put in, I think it just fit well, so we did that. But we did this little educational outing off camera, just a small sort of thing to put those screens in, get the guest feeling. I just want to add a few more buildings to these builds, but here's the view from the tower. I think it's great, and man, those snow leopards can jump. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how this tower turned out. You get a great view of the habitat, and we'll just walk around here. But I think we'll just move into some glam shots now instead of this first person, since the snow leopards keep getting out. And I have a lot of glam shots here. But thank you everyone who tuned in. Thank you for all the support and the view. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. If you want to see more content like this, I post about twice a week. Sometimes I get a third video out if I am able to. But stay tuned on the channel for my uploads. The zoo's getting better and better, and we're filling up a lot of these areas now. We might have to go back and spruce up some of the old builds a little bit too, since most of these new builds, like the snow leopard exhibit, just look so much better than the old stuff we did. I think I'm coming into my stride here. We've been doing this for about a month now, so you get a lot more familiar with the game and get a lot of tips as we'll change the lighting here so you get a little better view of the exhibit. But I just love this build. I think it turned out great, and super happy with it, and I hope you guys all enjoyed it too. So thank you again for staying tuned and watching the video, and I'll see you all next time.